Welcome to our second lesson in design and prototyping. Last lesson, we began our ideation stage by brainstorming designs for our app to solve our user's problem. In this lesson, we will continue with this stage. Even though our design thinking steps have ideate followed by prototype, there are some steps that come before prototyping. These steps include sketching, where we draw a basic concept, followed by wireframing, where we refine that concept further, and then we have mockup, which comes before prototype, where we create visual, graphic, and content. Before we move forward, there's an important term used in the design process of apps. This is fidelity. Fidelity refers to how close your design is to the finished product or app. As we go higher in fidelity, we can understand that it will take more time for us to design. That is, prototyping will take much more time than sketching. Here we can see that sketch and wireframe are considered low fidelity representations, while mockup is considered medium fidelity and prototype high fidelity. Therefore, this means that our prototype should be the closest design to our finished product or app. Let's go on to the first stage, that is sketching. Sketching, which is low fidelity, is an important step in the design process and can be used at any stage. This is the best way for us to easily and quickly share our ideas, especially if you're working in a group. The best way to share or communicate your ideas is to sketch. Did you sketch while you were brainstorming? For this process, you'll need very simple tools such as pencil and paper, or you can also use post-its, index cards, pens, and markers. For this step, we want to convey the idea of a phone screen. So, in order to do this, we can sketch rectangles to represent the screen, or you can use the printable templates provided. Some basic tips when sketching for app design are that you keep in mind the problem you're trying to solve. That is, you remember your user goals and your goals. Also, another tip includes that you keep it monotone. Don't use color. You can keep it simply black and white. Even though sketching is a simple step for us in our design process, there are some tips that can help us better do so, especially in terms of designing for our app. When you see this icon, what do you think it means? You're probably thinking that, I need to find a charger and outlet quickly before my phone dies because the battery is low. While when you see this one, you're comfortable knowing that you can go through the day without needing your charger. These two symbols shown are representative of what we call conventions. Conventions are the things that we see, use, are familiar with, and understand as users without much explanation. Similarly, when we begin to sketch our ideas, there are simple elements we can use that others will easily understand. Some of those elements include lines. We can use lines to represent text, annotations, and even for some shading. We can use squares. These can represent buttons or images. We can also use circles. These can be representative of indicators, icons, controls. We can also use triangles to represent arrows. So, you therefore understand that sketching is a very simple process. Even so, we should still use elements that are very familiar to our user. Another convention, apart from elements, is that of location. Consider these two images. Which one are you more comfortable with? The navigation bar at the top of the screen or the navigation bar at the bottom of the screen. It is important to understand that users have a strong memory for where things are visually located on your mobile screen or display. Here we look at the location of the navigation bar. Which of these do you think users are more accustomed to? Which of these look more normal to us? The one on the left, right? When we understand and consider these two conventions of mobile elements and location, we can better design even from our sketching stage. So let's begin sketching. I have my paper here where I brainstorm my ideas and use the sketch. I then used index cards to represent my screens. I sketched 6 main screens. My advice to you is to sketch the main screens you would like your app to have. You can sketch as many as you like. Keep it simple and loose as your ideas flow. Don't worry to make it perfect at this point. Keep in mind that these ideas can change as you continue along the design process. Remember that these steps and designs are for you to use as a guide. You are free to be creative to either enhance these designs or create your fresh ideas. The main aim is to design an app that best solves the problem for the user. So the 6 main screens that I sketched are as follows. We'll go through what each screen entails. The first screen that I sketched is called our splash screen, or sometimes referred to as our launch or startup screen. This is a screen you see first when you open or launch an app on your mobile device. It usually has just a logo or image or a slogan. So here I use a circle to represent whatever design I'm going to use for my logo, and I intend to have a slogan. The next screen that I sketched was my login screen. This is where the user needs to input or submit either their username, email, or password in order to be allowed to use the app. Some login screens also give you the option of logging in using what we call third-party websites such as Facebook or Google account. It is advisable to always give your users an alternative to email for sign-in, like their social media accounts. So here we have examples of 2 login screens with different styles. That is why it is important to do research to understand your user so that you can design what will work best for them and the function of the app. As you can see in my sketch, I was not quite sure as yet what kind of design I wanted to have on the login screen, since there are many ways you can design this simple screen. The important thing is to get the general idea of what details and the location of those details on this screen. Remember that you can adjust your design as you move along. I wanted the user to be able to input their pickup location. This screen is about location details and functions. Because it has to do with location, I knew that I wanted my app to have a part for a map feature. Having a map feature would allow my user to identify locations, services, etc. closest to her. A reminder of our user Lily May, she was not yet familiar with her surroundings, so a map in her app will be very much helpful in giving her also a sense of security, being able to view what's located closest to her. Many apps that deal with transport have this feature, such as Uber. I began to brainstorm other features that I wanted the app to have and started to add too many to this one screen. The key is to keep it simple. If you have many ideas, create another screen for some than trying to put all of it on one screen, as I try to do here in my sketch. The next screen that I wanted to have in the app was a drop-off screen or the delivery screen. So this screen is similar to the pickup screen. However, it is designed to give the user more information on who the goods will be delivered by and more payment options. The delivery confirmation screen. Now, this is an important screen which communicates to the user that all of what they have done from the beginning of opening the app has so far been successful, and that they should be receiving the service that they need soon. In my sketching process, I was not yet sure of all the details I want to include on this screen. And finally, the thank you and review screen. This screen gives the user one way of sharing how they feel about the service provided. I decided that I wanted the user to rate the driver from 1 to 5 stars and to also type or input their opinion. This was the final of my main screens that I decided to sketch. Remember, when you are sketching or designing your app, that you keep it familiar, but you also make it unique to how you would want the solution to look like for your user. In this lesson, we understand that sketching is an easy way to share your app ideas. We should use simple elements such as basic shapes and lines at this stage. And most importantly, element and location conventions are important to remember when designing your app. Continue to do research to inspire your sketch designs. It is also important that you do not discard of your sketches. This is like discarding of your ideas. Your ideas will look and develop more in the next phase, which is your wireframing step. So I'll see you in the next lesson where we begin wireframing.